This video is going to be a film study look that focuses in on the counter concept that the Seattle Seahawks offense utilized to really take advantage of an Arizona Cardinals defense that at times, either through pre-snap alignment and or responses to motion, I think really puts themselves in unsound locations and alignments. We'll get to that as we get the film started here. I made a mistake in my reaction video Sunday night. I called this counterplay a jab. I think that's a bad analogy now after going through the film early Monday morning. I would say it's more like a right cross, a lead right, if you will, in a combat sports scenario where you don't use the jab to set it up. Charbonnet has a 51-yard touchdown run on this concept that I'll show you here in a moment. Additional to that, through my tracking, I have 6 iterations of the Seahawks offense running a counter scheme out of the shotgun. And on those 6 plays, they produced 94 yards. So even if you were to subtract or make Zach Charbonnet's 51-yard touchdown run late in the second quarter that gives them a 24-10 lead, even if you were to make that disappear, say it didn't happen, even still on the 5 other counter concepts out of the gun that Seattle ran, they generated 43 yards, so over 8 yards per carry. This was a very effective scheme that they utilized. I think, have they run this play previously in 2024? I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I real quickly was able to go back through and search in my Seahawks folder for counter, which I typically abbreviate as CTR, and I did not find one that fit this description. Essentially, shotgun formation, running back to one side, and the counter scheme going away in the opposite direction. We'll show you Charbonnet's touchdown run. It puts him up 24-10 first. It appears to be a check with Geno Smith changing something at the line. You can see that Noah Fant changes his alignment after Geno steps back. And so there's an edge defender just on the left-hand side of you guys' frame. You can see his helmet. It's a 2nd and 5. We're late in the second quarter. And Charles Cross, the left tackle, does a great job here of handling this 4-eye and this kind of tight look that Arizona is giving. That 4-eye steps out. And so Cross, you can see, has allowed him to cross his face. And now he's going to step down to the nose tackle and help condense that and make sure that downhill lane is there for Charbonnet. And sure enough, it is. Additional to that, you can kind of see Budda Baker here, who had 18 tackles. He's blitzing on the backside. Charbonnet, look at the lane that has developed. Number 1. Number 2, this scheme seemed to be something that Arizona didn't have an answer for, especially out of the gun. Now, later on, Seattle shows a slight variation of it, which I'll give you a film study look at from 2 angles. I'm going to go through some of the examples of this. The first time I saw this, second quarter, actually I saw it one time for, I think, 4 yards earlier in the game. This is 11 personnel pro twins, so the tight end is actually to the point of attack. In this case, I think it's Barner. Going to get motion by JSN. Watch the response to motion that Arizona utilizes. They widened up the inside linebacker and then bring the nickel defender. Well, neither one of those guys has to be blocked on this counter scheme. All you got to do is 16 yards. Let you see it one more time. So what I'm describing is, this may be a linebacker. I misspoke a moment ago, called him a nickel defender. He doesn't need to be blocked. He's not going to be able to make this play, number 1. As soon as they move the inside linebacker, the Mike, if you will, out of there on motion, you've got a severe numbers disadvantage down to the boundary just by our response to a simple motion. Same play from the end zone angle. So here's the Mike linebacker. And again, I just think it destroys the integrity of the defense. This tight end, Barner, would normally combo down on like a 5 technique and then work up to the Mike linebacker. In this case, they're in the tight front, so they got a 4-eye. 4-eye is here. And the way that Seattle is blocking this is the guard on the left-hand side of the screen and the tackle, but their right guard, right tackle combo are going to pull and get a kick-out block by the guard and then a wrap by the tackle. I think it's Lucas, excuse me. And you can see, since there's no inside line. Now, look, it's possible that is in fact, his assignment. That's entirely possible. But the point is, there literally is no second-level defender that was able to take advantage. To me, this is a huge concept to be able to run into the boundary as a response to motion, number 1, or run to the side of trips. Now, this is actually not counter. This is the late second quarter drive after the teams have exchanged punts. Seattle's up 17-10. It's a 1st and 10. So you've got 11 personnel. Notice where the tight end is. He's attached to the left tackle, almost a one-by-one relationship, downhill scheme, and this almost hits. And what I mean by that is you get a little bit of a skip cut, jump cut by Charbonnet. Lockett is going to get the boundary side safety right here, who's stepping down to be part of the run fit because he's got his read. If Lockett is able to do anything and get a piece of this, there's a chance that Charbonnet could skip through here and have a little bit of a lane as long as this D tackle doesn't compress things. 6 yards rushing on the day. But the largest run differential between the Seahawks offense and what the opponent's offense was able to generate against Mike McDonald's defense, plus 55. I think that's the largest differential for Seattle in 2024. So this is Charbonnet's touchdown run on the very next play, the very next snap, by the way. It's a 2nd and 5. The tight end ends up being not attached. So there's a little bit to say about this in terms of where the tight end is lined up. Normally, when you get the tight end as number 2, kind of a pre-snap indicator that you're going to get a pass play. The run-pass ratio, in my opinion, when the tight end out of 11 personnel is into the trips, located as number 2, I would say is going to be heavily weighted or skewed towards the pass. I may be wrong, and I don't pretend to know exactly what it is for Seattle's offense leading up to this game, but point is, Geno's audibled them into a look that appears as if it's going to lead to a pass play on a 2nd and 5. Again, we're late into the second quarter. I think we're about 2:45 left. Notice what you don't have. You have no second-level defender stacked behind the defensive line at all. Buda Baker's blitzers that are created by Arizona's defensive structure. So, first of all, you do have a pancake block here. Absolute KO. And then secondly, you've got the tackle, Lucas, pulling through here, leading the way. Charbonnet downhill. Cross also did another nice job of comboing up to this, I believe, with like 2:35 left in the second quarter. Here's what I note about this play and also about Arizona's defense. Feel free to go back and double check this. I believe Arizona had allowed no more than 79 yards rushing in 5 of their last 6 games. And Seattle just dropped 176 on them. Now, 51 of that did come on this play, but the counter concept, as you're going to see through this video, was incredibly effective. That's a career-high rushing output for Charbonnet. It's a season-high rushing output for him, obviously, and for Seattle's offense. Even without Kenneth Walker III, they were able to sweep a division opponent, play a more consistent, balanced brand of offense, if you will, and I think keep the pressure off Geno Smith. Geno Smith didn't have to make so many decisions/throws to keep drives going. They had basically more conservative, more opportunities to be conservative with their play call and with what Geno was asked to do. So same play. Check out, and look, Arizona to this point has not ID'd the formation and the play. Again, we're late second quarter. So when I say ID'd, what I mean is you have a tight end who's off screen to our right. It's Fant after the audible. He's in the middle as the number 2 receiver. Your count starts from the outside. So the widest receiver is number 1. Fant is number 2. And then JSN, who you can see here, is number 3. He's the inside guy closest to the tackle. Check out how they do this. So a little bit different than the earlier iteration of it. You got really great angles here and then for the initial down block, but that D end steps out. And so cross combos up, like I said earlier. So he's going to get the combo here and then work to the backside safety, what I would consider to be their 5-1 looks. Lo and behold, when you get the opening play, the second play of their next drive, which is late second quarter, it's a 2nd and 3. Arizona's in 4-2 look. So they're in a more traditional look. They've kind of, if you ask me, learned a little bit here during the game and recognized, hey, this counter is kicking our ass. So you've got 2 inside linebackers actually stacked, and I think a hybrid outside linebacker, inside linebacker here as well. But it's the same play. Trips with Fant as the number 2, guard and tackle that pull. It's going to be the center pull and kick, and the tackle, cross, pull, and wrap. And there's really a stalemate that occurs between him and the end zone angle of the same play. Again, this is still late second quarter. So you don't have to block this edge defender. He's not going to be able to play a role in this at all, unless he violently is running down the line of scrimmage. But his wide alignment kind of removes that as a possibility. So Geno doesn't have to really read him. Watch how they get this done. So the guard, number 70, the left guard is going to block back on the D tackle. The right guard is going to block down, as opposed to the way that they had been doing it earlier, where the center would block back, guard would pull and kick, and tackle would wrap. Just a call at the line of scrimmage for them to instead block. They got great angles here. So the center is going to pull and kick as opposed to the guard. Again, you got a great angle here. Cross is still going to be the second guy through, the second puller, the wrapper. And you get a really nice job by the right tackle of comboing with the guard to the backside inside linebacker. So they've closed him off as well. McIntosh, you weren't able to get another score there. But the great angles, I feel like, was what I wanted to illustrate for you as to why they pulled the center and the tackle as opposed to the guard and the tackle, which is more traditional. So I think that Seattle's offensive staff not only came in more prepared to run the ball with a better idea of how to attack this particular defense that Arizona runs, but also natural or built-in adjustments. Hey, what if they go to a 4-2 look? How can we get it accomplished? How can we give them a different look later? Well, they did that. They kind of showed that to us on the first play of the third quarter. Again, it's 24-10 here, 21 personnel. So Charbonnet and McIntosh are on the field at the same time. And this time the tight end is at the point of attack. You're going to get motion by McIntosh. Arizona, again, if you ask me, kind of destroys the integrity of their defense. But you do have a player for the quarterback. And then Budda Baker on the blitz is going to run down the line of scrimmage and kind of get the heels of Charbonnet, who still was able to skip through for, I think, a 6 or a 7-yard gain. I will give you the end zone angle. A couple of things that are different. When we talked about it earlier, there was trips to the field. So Fant was up here between the number 1 and number 2 receivers. Now he's down here to the boundary. He's at the point of attack. He's where they want to run the football. You can see he releases to the front side inside linebacker. You get a pull and a kick. And then the second puller is, I think it's Lucas, really a unique manner in my opinion. But nonetheless, 6 yards on the first play of the third quarter. It's still the same concept. The only difference is it's out of 21 personnel, number 1. Number 2, you actually have a tight end to the side where you're running the counter play where Charbonnet is going to flow post-snap. Same situation from a blocking standpoint. The guard can block back. The playside guard and playside tackle are double teaming the D tackle. I do think that at this point, Arizona has possibly ID'd it, meaning they kind of know what's coming. Because look at the slant that they've got here. These guys are trying to slant to the playside. They're slanting into the boundary. Charbonnet, nonetheless, is a different personnel grouping, different formation. They actually had to punt on that initial drive of the third quarter. This is later in the third quarter. The lead has been cut to, I believe, 24 to 20. It's a 2nd and 2. And still in this tight front where the 2 D tackles / D ends, whatever you want to call them, are in these 4 eyes. So they're inside shade of the tackles. And there's no second-level defender in the box at all. Kazire White is kind of apexed out. You can kind of see his upper body here. He's apexed out. And the Seahawks really had a great idea of how to block this. You can tell that they prepped this all goal out of that to go up 27-10. I misspoke a moment ago and said they were only up. Said they were. It would be great for Seattle if they were able to build on this and advance or come up with other schemes, specific schemes each week to attack a particular defense. I do wonder if this is something that's just specific to Arizona. Here's what's amazing. You're talking about this is third quarter. Same exact formation. This is the 2nd and 2 that I've already showed you from the end zone angle. Fant as number 2, and look what you've got. You've got 5 over 3. Real, if you ask me, severe lack of awareness by Arizona's defense. Yeah, they're coming downhill. Yeah, they are contesting it. But in my opinion, contesting it from the depth that they're playing at is in this case, Charbonnet is able to get the first down. I don't mean to minimize what Seattle did, so don't get that impression at all. To me, it's a positive and it's encouraging that they were able to go out there and identify something against a team that had been stopping the run very well. Like I said in the lead-in, to my knowledge and the research that I did late last night, Arizona had held opponents, 5 of its last 6 opponents, to 79 yards rushing or less. And Seattle just went in there and punched in 176, including the big one by Charbonnet for 51 yards. This particular concept, 6 carries for 94 yards on the counter scheme, 2 different versions of it, one out of 11 personnel where the counter goes to the trips, and then the other that I showed you the first play of the third quarter, 21 personnel, McIntosh and Charbonnet, both on the field at the same time, running it back to the tight end into the boundary. I think there was actually one more that I didn't show you here. Is a big factor, that counter scheme, in generating 176 yards rushing, like I said in the reaction video Sunday night that I'll link up here. If you didn't watch it, feel free to check it out. The largest differential for what the offense was able to generate on the ground versus what they were able to allow in 2024, plus 55. If Seattle is able to be, let's be a real positive and glowing evaluation here. If they were able to be plus 50 in every single game, they got a great chance to win with the type of defense that Mike McDonald's group plays against the pass. I'm not sure that plus 50 every single week is really realistic. Somewhere in the plus 30 to plus 35 range is high percent win opportunity, in my opinion, given how good Seattle's defense is against the pass, how many dangerous guys they have. Look, yesterday they had 9 passes defensed against Kyler Murray and, of course, 2 interceptions. Appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of the video. I will have out a player film study video on Zach Charbonnet late Monday night. This one was focusing on just the counter scheme. Charbonnet was clearly used on more than just that, while he was able to get to a career-high rushing yards. Appreciate you guys' time, man. Let me know what you think of the video in the comment section. If you think other Seahawks fans would enjoy this film study look at how Seattle's offense was able to utilize the counter scheme to really, I think, take advantage of Arizona's openings, the gaps in their defense that are kind of naturally created, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.